Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at another Paldea Evolved deck. That's going to be Gardevoir X. It's been a little bit since I did a video, but I have been taking a lot of time to learn Standard format. I've been playing a lot of Standard format tournaments to get ready for the next regional in Portland and Fresno. But Gardevoir has been the main deck I've been testing. I've been having a ton of success with Gardevoir in Standard right now. But with the next Paldea Evolved set, Gardevoir actually gets even better because there are some really cool key new cards that just make it a lot stronger of a deck, in my opinion. Well, maybe not a lot stronger. It definitely is. It's a different deck. There's different attackers now, but still, it's still a super duper strong deck. And yeah, we're just going to go right into it. Starting off with the Ralts, of course, we're going to have 4. I have a 2-2 split in here. Honestly, this is just because these are the ones that I have extras of. But if you want to play like 4 teleportation burst or like 3 teleportation burst and a 1 memory skip, you can do that. I'm playing 260 HP and 270 HP. It doesn't really matter that much. Like Vulpix is probably still a pretty decent card, but where that card feels like it's definitely one that kind of has to prove itself before where you're actually going to start taking for it again. And yeah, so these Ralts are kind of like mix and match whatever Ralts you like, you can play. Then we of course have 4 Kirlia, the 4 refinement ones, no Mirage Step. I've been playing no Mirage Step for a while now, and it's felt fine to me. You just have so many search cards, and hopefully you're getting your board set up so that you can take advantage of having all 4 of the refinement ones in your deck. Let me just tell you, there's almost no better feeling than getting turn 2 4 Kirlias in play, all using refinement. It's just so good. It's like it feels like you just cannot lose at that point. Just you have so much draw, you cannot be judged. You can't you just have such an impenetrable board. Yeah, refinement Kirlia just super duper good. Then we have Gardevoir X, 2 copies of it. This of course has the super strong Psychic Embrace ability, allowing you to attach any amount of Psychic Energy from your discard pile to your Psychic Pokemon to play, and then putting 2 damage counters on that Pokemon for its energy accelerated. And of course, this is going to be used to power up our attackers, one of which is going to be Baby Gardevoir, as well as Drifloon. This Gardevoir also has an attack itself, Miracle Force, which 3 energy does 190. It's actually I found it to be a pretty decent attack just in general in Gardevoir decks. You can knock out the Minion with it. It just knocks out like Bidoof, Comfey, Cramorant, like everything in the Lost on deck it knocks out, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and then we have the Baby Gardevoir, one of it. This is because we do have some ways to get it back if we want to attack with it multiple times over the course of a game, and it has 2 super duper strong attributes: the Shining Arcana ability, allowing you to look at the top 2 cards of your deck, attach any number of energies. The other cards in your hand is literally at worst a free draw 2, which is super strong. And then Brainwave dealing 60 damage and then 30 more for each Psychic Energy attached. Means just like a couple turn attachments, you can actually boost this Gardevoir all the way up to hitting 300 damage if you have 8 energy on it, which is pretty good. And we have the newest kind of attacker in the deck, and that is actually a Drifloon, which is kind of funny. A Drifloon being good. No Drifblim, just Drifloon. The Drifloon for 2 Psychic Energy has Balloon Blast that does 30 damage for each damage counter on it. And you can obviously see this energy here. Gardevoir EX, which accelerates energies to the Drifloon to damage it, and then Balloon Blast deals a ton of damage. Now, if you think a ton of damage, you have 70 HP, which means you're maxing out at 6 damage counter on you, which is 180 damage. That's not that good. But we actually do have a new tool card that was releasing in this set. The Charm of Courage, that's actually going to give basic Pokemon it's attached to plus 50 HP, which allows you to boost this Drifloon's damage from 180 all the way up to 300, which is so much better of a number, because then you're actually one-shotting B-Stars, things like that. So this Drifloon is a insanely strong one-prize attacker. Just with relatively ease, you can just dish out 300 damage on the second turn of the game because you have Rare Candies in here. Yeah, Drifloon is super duper strong. Main attacker. We have 2 copies of Mysterious Tail Mew, and this is for a different reason that I'll get to down the line. I actually used to all have 2 of them, but the main reason I used to all have 2 of them is because it's just the best type of card in your deck. Almost every single game, like pivoting into a Mew on turn 1, so retreating into a Mew on turn 1, is really, really strong, because Mysterious Tail just helps you set up that much more. It helps you find level balls, VIP passes, everything, all that good stuff. Mew would do super, super strong, and does have that key 60 HP, which is important. Then we have 2 copies of, not 2 copies. We have 1 copy of Manaphy, the Bench Barrier ability, as well as Greninja, of course, that can get our energies in the discard pile, which is just really, really strong. Then we have the newest and probably most anticipated, I would imagine, card from Paldea Evolved. That's Iono. 4 copies of Iono. I think 4 Iono and Gardevoir is just really, really good. But Iono says each player shuffles their hand and puts it on the bottom of their deck, and then draws a card for each of their remaining prize cards. And as a Gardevoir deck, you don't care too much about setting yourself to like a 4 or 3 card hand because you have Curlias and Gardevoir to draw out of it, which just makes Iono kind of just like a annoying card for your opponent and like a nice little way to reset your hand for you. If you're not like if you're looking for a specific card, Iono is super good. And on the first opening turns, it basically says put your hand on the bottom and draw 6, which is a really, really good supporter for a deck like this that just wants to draw in the opening stages so it can set up, because when the Gardevoir sets up, it wins. Let me tell you. So yeah, 4 copies of Iono. Iono, I definitely think is like one of the best cards in the deck now. It's just super duper strong, especially since also you're giving up prizes by setting up. Like I said, like you're sticking in the active early game. You're going to be taking a couple turns to set up with this deck. So having that Iono to just kind of like punish your opponent for letting you set up is really, really good. Then we have 2 copies of Boss. Nothing really more to say. Boss is really strong. 1 copy of Research as well, because you still want that you think you still want that other like little bit of draw. That Iono, like the aggressive discard draw that Research gives you. You can discard like an awkward hand of like has a lot of energy in it or something. Then we have 1 copy of Miriam, which, like I mentioned, we have ways to get back our Pokemon. So if we want to attack the Gardevoir multiple times, we can. Let's get back our Manaphy. If that thing goes down, let's get back Drifloon. So we can just like hit 300 damage with Drifloon 3 times. Because we do have 3 Charm of Courage in here. Miriam is super strong. And also, it's very worse. It's just like usually just going to be a draw 3, which is still pretty decent in the deck that draws so many cards without support already. Having a support that just draws 3 can be pretty nice. We have 1 copy of Arven, which was in the initial Japanese lists for Gardevoir, but kind of fell out of favor really quickly. I'm not a huge fan of Arven, at least right now, in standard Gardevoir, but in this deck, I think it is super strong just because we actually have a tool we want to be getting on our Pokemon ASAP, and that's going to be the Charm of Courage. We want to get that on our Pokemon, and having that Arven option as like the kind of pseudo 4th copy of the Charm, as well as being able to search an item card, so it can help us tutor rare candies to get attacking as soon as possible. Can just get us another Curly in play is really, really good. I think Arven is definitely really, really strong in Gardevoir now. Stadiums, 2 copies of Triple Sinnoh. This is just really good versus Lugia. You should be taking a pretty good Lugia matchup right now. We don't have Zacian Sky Seal anymore, but you just have like the insane like presence of Drifloon. The trade for the Zacian Sky Seal. But the Temple Sinnoh is still annoying for a lot of decks to deal with, mainly Lugia, of course, because it turns out all energy, so they can't Craggle you, etc. Temple Sinnoh is really, really good. And another stadium that if you're on Twitter, you've probably heard talking about is Champions Festival. I do have an alternative Champions Festival in here. If you want to play Champions Festivals, you can, but I think the alternative I have in here is just a little bit better than Champions Festival. And the best part of it is you don't have to pay $200 for a Champions Festival to play this list because it doesn't have Champions Festival. Then we have Battle VIP Pass, 4 of them, pretty obvious. It's pretty standard in Gardevoir right now, and should remain that way. Battle VIP Pass is still just an insanely broken card. 4 copies of Fog Crystal as well. Once again, you just want to set up as much as possible, so that's why you're seeing we have this super, super consistent search engine. We have 4 Battle VIP Pass, 4 Fog Crystal, and 4 Level Ball, as well as 2 Ultra Balls. So we're having plenty of search outs, 14 of them. That is going to be plenty. We're going to be able to search out our Pokemon really easily. And that's like when Gardevoir gets up and running, when it gets its Curlies in play on turn 2, it's strong, it's annoying. You're in a really good spot just because the deck just has such a high power level. So we're having so many set up item cards, we can just set up as much as possible. 2 copies set for Candy. Rare Candy is just good. Then we have this is going to be our alternative to our Champions Festival, and that's actually Damage Pump. And the main one, people, when they see this card, are like, Damage Pump, it can just move the damage, it can move the damage off Gardevoir EX, so you can go in with like a little bit more tanky Gardevoir EX. You can move damage from a Gardevoir onto your Drifloon, so basically like if you want to hit that big 330 with the Drifloon, you can accelerate the 5 energy onto Drifloon. It has 120 HP, so you accelerate 5, then you put 100 damage or 10 damage counters on it, which means that it's now hitting 300. And then if you just accelerate 1 more energy onto Gardevoir EX or any other Pokemon, you can damage pump it. The damage that you put on the other Pokemon onto the Drifloon, just 1 damage counter, bringing it up to 110 yeah, 110 damage on the Drifloon, which then will hit for 330. But the other really cool thing that damage pump lets you do is it lets you force your opponent to take prize cards. Because if you just Psychic Embrace 2 times to a Mew, and then Psychic Embrace one more time to a another Pokemon, and then damage pump, move those 2 damage counters onto the Mew, you actually knock out the Mew, and then you can Iono your opponent to 1 fewer card, which is pretty cool. So it kind of has that pseudo use of allowing you to like control your opponent's prize cards more aggressively, so you can just spam Iono a little bit more because they're going to have fewer prize cards, so they're going to draw fewer cards. Help make it harder for them to draw out. And then it can also put the damage counters on your Drifloon to make it do the damage that you need it to do. Then we have 1 copy of Super Rod. This is getting a reprint. This allows you to shuffle 3 in any combination of Pokemon and Basic Energy from your discard pile into your deck. This is just a pretty obvious replacement to Clara. Clara being a support is a little bit annoying, but now you can Super Rod and also play an Iono in the same turn. But yeah, this can get back Drifloons, it can get back Gardevoirs, like I mentioned. Get back Curly's Mana, everything. It's just really, really strong. Then we have the new tool card, the Charm of Courage. This is the Pokemon, the basic Pokemon this card's attached to, gets plus 50 HP. This is obviously really, really strong, like I was talking about this entire video for our Drifloon, bringing that Drifloon from 70 all the way up to 120. Means that you can dish out 300 damage, 330 with the damage pumps, with just a little tiny Drifloon, which is really, really cool. Then we have our Energy, which is going to be 10 copies of Basic Psychic. I've seen some Gardevoir lists from Japan playing Reversal Energy, and that is pretty decent, I think. If you want to give it a go, you can. However, this build is a little bit less Baby Gardevoir focused and more Drifloon focused. I think if you wanted to add a second Baby Gardevoir and then add a Reversal Energy, that'd be pretty decent. Because the Reversal Energy is really, really strong alongside the Baby Gardevoir, because it allows you to just retaliate and pretty easily hit large damage with Gardevoir or Baby Gardevoir, which is pretty cool. So yeah, if you want to add the Reversal Energy, that is pretty decent. But yeah, that's gonna be the list, guys. If you guys liked it, don't forget to leave a like. If you guys want to see more, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.